The Shadow in Pripyat, the Unknown Operator. In 1986, after the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, thousands of people were forced to evacuate, abandoning everything in the exclusion zone. Pripyat, once a thriving Soviet city, quickly became a haunting monument to tragedy, frozen in time. It stands as a grim symbol of one of the worst industrial disasters in history. But besides the lingering radiation, Pripyat is said to hold something else. Something that terrifies even the most daring explorers who venture into its deserted ruins. In 1997, a small group of urban explorers, students from Kyiv, decided to spend a few days in Pripyat, capturing documentary footage of the abandoned city. There were 4 of them, and they brought a camcorder, a map, and some spare batteries. Young and confident, they set off for Pripyat under cover of darkness, hoping to avoid security and make it into the exclusion zone undetected. The first night passed without incident. The group set up camp in one of the many abandoned apartment buildings, taking note of old Soviet newspapers and eerie, dust-covered furniture. They filmed everything they saw: the abandoned schools, a decaying amusement park, empty stores, and lifeless buildings. On the second night, they chose to stay in a high-rise once home to Chernobyl plant workers. Known among explorers as the Red House, the 9-story building had a reputation for strange occurrences. The group made their way to the 8th floor, where they found a relatively clean apartment and settled in for the night. But as the city lay silent, they began hearing something strange, footsteps echoing faintly down the dark corridor. They brushed it off, assuming it was just the sounds of an old building reacting to the night chill. One of the group members, Sasha, set up their camcorder in the hallway, leaving it to record overnight, hoping to capture any mysterious sounds or movements. In the morning, the camera was still recording. When they reviewed the footage back in their hotel room in Kyiv, what they saw left them horrified. The footage showed the dark hallway, barely lit by moonlight, but at one point, the camera captured the shape of a man, slowly moving toward it. The figure was dressed in a Soviet-era jumpsuit with a hood pulled over his head, though faint light glowed from the empty sockets where his eyes should have been. The shadowy figure stopped directly in front of the camera, staring straight into the lens. The figure's face was mostly obscured, but it looked as though he was murmuring something, a quiet, almost inaudible whisper. Some of them thought it might have been another explorer roaming the same building, though they remembered seeing no one else on the night of their visit. Then upon closer inspection, they realized something chilling. They distinctly recalled that the doors to their apartment on the 8th floor had been closed that night, and the footage only showed an empty hallway. Yet when the figure appeared on camera, the doors were slightly ajar. Several paranormal enthusiasts speculated that the figure could have been an operator who had died during the evacuation or one of the disaster's casualties who never left the city. After that night, Sasha, the one who had set up the camera, couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching him. Strange dreams began to haunt him nearly every night. In these dreams, he found himself standing in the same empty hallway, bathed in eerie light, with the same man, his empty eyes fixed on Sasha, standing in the doorway, just staring. The other 2 members of the group stopped visiting the exclusion zone altogether, claiming that they couldn't get rid of an intense feeling of unease that followed them everywhere. One of them even sought the help of a therapist as he began to hear faint, whispering voices whenever he was alone. Each member described these whispers similarly, faint and indistinct, like radio static, with a single repeated word: come or return. Over time, this story turned into an urban legend among explorers who visit the Chernobyl exclusion zone. They refer to the unknown figure as the Chernobyl Shadow. Local researchers believe the figure is the spirit of a worker who perished in the disaster but was never able to leave the zone, now cursed to guard it. Another theory is that he might be one of the many liquidators who never returned to their families, forced to stay forever within the boundaries of the exclusion zone. Rumor has it that if you see the shadow in Pripyat, it's best to leave immediately, as his presence is a sign of danger. Once he shows up on your camera or catches the edge of your vision, he'll begin to visit you in your dreams, calling you back to the exclusion zone, or waiting until you find a way to break free of his curse. Thank you for watching this story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any new creepy legends and mystical tales. There's a lot more to come, so stay tuned and be ready for more encounters with the unknown. Look out for the next story.